Imagine this for a moment. You are the last person on Earth, but you're not on Earth. You're in space, alone. What would that be like? A chilling thought, isn't it? The sheer magnitude of solitude and isolation, a universe away from the world you once knew. It's a scenario that's difficult to fathom, even for the most imaginative among us, but let's delve a little deeper into this unfathomable situation. When we think of isolation, we often consider it in the context of our earthly existence, a solitary confinement in a prison cell perhaps, or a remote cabin in the woods. But this is something else entirely. This is the kind of isolation that is truly unimaginable, the kind that would make the heart ache and the mind race. In such extreme isolation, the human brain can react in unpredictable ways. It's not just about the absence of human contact, it's about the complete void of any form of life or movement. It's the silence that echoes through the vast expanse of space, the absence of familiar sounds and sights, the lack of anything that reminds you of home. Loneliness is a powerful emotion, one that can lead to severe psychological effects. Studies have shown that prolonged loneliness can lead to depression, anxiety, and even physical health problems. But what about when that loneliness is magnified by the sheer scale of the universe? In such a scenario, the human brain might start to play tricks on itself. Hallucinations could become a regular occurrence, with the mind creating images and sounds in a desperate attempt to fill the void. The line between reality and fantasy might start to blur as the brain struggles to cope with the unimaginable isolation. Being the last human trapped in space would be a test of not just physical endurance but mental resilience. The human mind is a remarkable tool, one that has allowed us to achieve incredible feats, but in such an extreme situation, it could also become our worst enemy. Our mind is a powerful tool, but in such extreme isolation, it can become our greatest adversary. Now, consider the environment. You're not just alone, you're alone in the vast, cold emptiness of space. In this boundless void, survival becomes a delicate dance with the laws of physics and biology. First and foremost is maintaining life support. The artificial environment that keeps you alive is a fragile bubble separating you from the inhospitable void. You're responsible for maintaining breathable air, a stable temperature, and a supply of food and water. Every resource becomes precious, and waste is a luxury you cannot afford. On top of this, your body must adjust to the lack of gravity. In the weightlessness of space, muscles can atrophy, and bones lose density. Simple tasks become arduous challenges as you struggle to move and manipulate objects without the familiar tug of gravity. To keep your body functioning, you must exercise rigorously and regularly, another task to add to your solitary schedule. But the physical challenges are just the beginning. Space is a realm of hidden dangers, unseen until they strike. Radiation is a constant threat. Without the protection of Earth's magnetic field and atmosphere, your body is exposed to the full force of cosmic rays and solar radiation. Even with shielding, prolonged exposure could lead to serious health problems, including cancer. Then there are the micrometeoroids. These tiny, high-speed particles pepper space, and even the smallest can cause significant damage. A single micrometeoroid could puncture your spacecraft, leading to a catastrophic loss of pressure. In the silence of space, the only warning you might get is the hiss of escaping air. And all this while you are alone, with no one to offer assistance or comfort. Every challenge, every danger, you must face by yourself. Space is not a forgiving environment, and being the last person in it would present unprecedented challenges. As the last human, trapped in the vast emptiness of space, you'd truly understand the meaning of isolation. But perhaps, in that solitude, you'd also discover a new understanding of your own strength and resilience. What about time? Without the rising and setting of the sun, how would you keep track of time? Without the familiar rhythm of a day, you'd find yourself in a peculiar position. The concept of time as we know it is largely governed by the rotation of our Earth and the subsequent rising and setting of the sun. But in the vacuum of space, there are no such markers. No morning light to rouse you from sleep, no evening shadows to signal the end of a day. The human body, however, is not so easily fooled. Our internal clock, the circadian rhythm, is wired to the 24-hour cycle of light and darkness. It dictates when we sleep, when we wake, when we eat. But without these cues, this rhythm can get disrupted. In the timeless expanse of space, your body could fall into a state of perpetual jet lag, struggling to adjust to a day that never ends. And then there's the psychological impact. Imagine being enveloped in darkness, with only the distant stars to break the monotony. The eternal night could wreak havoc on your sense of reality. Without the structure of day and night, your perception of time could warp, stretch, and distort. Minutes could feel like hours, hours like days. You could find yourself losing track of time, becoming unmoored from the temporal anchors that ground us in reality. But in this eternal night, there might also be a strange kind of freedom. Time, after all, is a construct. In the absence of its usual markers, you could redefine it for yourself. You could create your own rhythms, your own routines. You could live by the clock of your choosing, not bound by the constraints of a 24-hour day. In the eternal night of space, time could become your enemy or your refuge. You could let it control you, let it disorient and confuse you. Or you could seize it, shape it, make it your own. The choice, as always, is yours. In the eternal night of space, time could become your enemy or your refuge. So, what's the verdict? What would it truly be like to be the last person on Earth, trapped in space? Let's take a moment to revisit the key points we've explored. First, we delved into the unimaginable isolation. The crushing solitude of space, devoid of human contact, any social interaction, a reality that is as vast as it is vacant. Then we stepped into the vast emptiness, the boundless void that is space, where nothingness takes on a whole new meaning. It's a place where silence isn't just golden, it's infinite. Next, we peered into the eternal night. The unending darkness that would be your only constant, a canvas of black sprinkled with distant stars, offering little more than a faint glimmer of what once was. In essence, being the last person in space would be a test of human endurance unlike any other, a journey into the unknown where the only companion is solitude.
Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video. That's all for Nifty